Hello everyone. So welcome today to another live session of Ask the Expert series. On behalf of Cloud9 also, I'm welcoming you to another session of Ask the Expert live sessions. Myself, Dr. Priya Vashne, and I'm a fertility and IVF specialist practicing at Cloud9 Hospital, Gurgaon. So this series is regarding Ask the Experts about all those women health issues which bothers about the women health and causes problem for their health. So already we have covered the topics like fibroid, we have covered polycystic ovaries, we have covered women health issues, and this session we are bringing another most important disease of the woman that is known as endometriosis. So endometriosis is really a silent killer disease, and it's very common in women. Around 1 in 10 women suffer from this disease. And normally people used to say that painful periods are the part of a womanhood. But a severe pain during periods or a killer menstrual cramps during periods is an early sign of also endometriosis. So with this notion, we are just starting this session that we wanted to throw some light about what this endometriosis disease as March is the endometriosis awareness month. And if you have any queries or questions about this disease, you can type in the comment box. We'll try to answer those questions. So today we have expert on our show, Dr. Chetna Jain.
Hello.
So ma'am is a senior obstetrician and laparoscopic surgeon with a huge 30 years of experience to her eclots. She is a great laparoscopic surgeon, a passionate obstetrician, and overall a wonderful human being.
Thank you for the kind introduction.
Ma'am is currently a director of Cloud9 Hospital, Sector 14, Gurgaon, and she's also director of Dr. Chetna's clinic that is situated at Palam Vihar. Welcome, ma'am, to the today's shows.
Thank you.
So let's discuss about a bit endometriosis. We will try first to clear all the queries what we have got on the forum, and rest you can type your queries in the comment box also. So, ma'am, according to you, how frequent is the endometriosis? Like, how common women is suffering from this disease?
So, as you rightly said, probably overall it's about 10% when you take into account women right from age 18 to 50. But if you talk of reproductive age, wherein the women over 30, so I would say 30% of the women over 30 at some point suffer this kind of problem, which is huge, of which about 50% deal with endometriosis. So it's a huge problem. 90% have severe pain abdomen, and so on. So it is a big challenge, and as you rightly said, it is a very painful situation for most of the women.
So that is, it is very common in the womanhood, and it is really a resilient disease. But the woman has to be also resilient about it. And until and unless you will not aware about the disease, you will not come to know whether you are suffering it or not. So we'll start the questions and answer in this series. The first question we have got from Shweta is, I have been told by my doctor that I have endometriosis. I am having severe dysmenorrhea. Please help me with the remedies about it. So, ma'am, according to you, what are first the symptoms or endometriosis and how the dysmenorrhea about endometriosis can be tackled?
So, two major symptoms in endometriosis. One is certainly heavy periods, and secondly is a very painful periods. And as the time passes, sometimes it becomes so much that the periods continue to the pain continues throughout the menstrual cycle. So initially it is just before periods and then continues and finishes just after, but gradually it increases its duration that before, by the time you realize that probably you're going to be pain free, your next cycle begins and the same vows continue. The second thing would be heavy periods. Not every woman with endometriosis would have heavy periods, but majority will also have adenomyosis, that is the presence of endometriosis in the uterine wall. And these women definitely have very painful and heavy periods, and they may last even longer. The problem with endometriosis is these women, they start early and they finish late, so their suffering is much more. Then, other than that, certainly difficulty in conceiving is a major challenge.
So the main silent points are that if you are these women mainly have painful periods, Although people used to say and family members used to say that periods pain during periods is normal, why there is so much of concern about that? So many a time it is not being diagnosed on time, due to which later on it present with a severe killer cramps during periods. So yes, menstrual pain is common, but any abnormal pain which is persisting during periods and it is not it is you have to take like repeatedly that you have to continue the painkillers during period is something to be the consultation should be taken off about that. So that is one thing. Also you can have a constant pelvic pain which people used to say कि constant मेरे को पेट में दर्द रहता है हमेशा, this cramps रहते हैं. So that is also a symptoms. Again, 30 to 40% also women have difficulty in conceiving in this disease. So that is also one of the problem that these type of women can suffer with it. And there are other symptoms beyond this menstrual problems, like there some people used to have constant irritable bowel like diarrhea, have they have they have different type of mood swings. There are a lot many symptoms because endometriosis just don't affect the pelvis, it affects the other organs also. So if you have symptoms, if the affection is of beyond the pelvis, then it have a unvaried or unusual symptoms also. So these are the few symptoms which endometriosis can manifest.
So, as you rightly said, so there are bowel and bladder symptoms. Bowel symptoms could be difficulty in passing stool or diarrhea, and the bladder symptoms will be painful urination or sometimes blood while passing urine.
So, in fact, at times we get reference with our other doctors, with the multiple specialty doctors, that they said us that this patient investigated for other problems, and suddenly we come to know about endometriosis. So, ma'am, what do you think that how this dysmenorrhea can be tackled in these type of women? What are the options we can have in this type of to treat this type of dysmenorrhea?
Right. So the options essentially are medical, special, but we must identify whether these women are planning a baby or not. Those who are planning a baby, things the medications which can be used are different, but those who are actually not planning, we can use certain other medications. So first thing first is control of pain. So you try and use various kinds of pain control, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory group, which is ibuprofen, diclofenac, and so on. So popularly known as Cambiflam or Voveran. So they can be used. Meftal spas can be tried. So all this, and if they do fail to work, if you still feel that in spite of these there's pain, then you move on to the next step, which is the use of contraceptive pills. Again, you have to reiterate that you are not planning a baby. If somebody is planning, not the right thing to do. So oral contraceptive pills, which are the combination pills, estrogen and progesterone combinations, can be used in single cycle or tricycling. If the symptoms are very severe, probably 3 monthly use is a good idea. So you take back to back 3 packets before you actually get your periods. There are other medications like GnRH agonist. Now, these medicines are very, very strong and can affect your skin, your mood. You can cause hot flashes and affect your bones. So they are not the first line of treatment. However, in a very severe endometriosis, before the preoperative preparation, they can be given over a short period of time to improve the lesions in the abdomen. So the operative recovery rate and the success rate of the surgery increases. So these are the various methods. Then we talk about a local insertion. So intrauterine LNG device, popularly known as Mirena insertion. So that's a very big deal because it will reduce the periods to bare minimum and thereby it reduces the pain remarkably. Certainly it has its own side effect. It takes a couple of weeks to few months before it settles down and you will have to bear with that for those couple of weeks or months. So these are the various medications which can be used by women who are trying to control their pain.
Okay, so we have lot many options to control the pain of endometriosis, and it all depends what the woman is desirous of. So we have basket of medicines, and according to we just see the patient, we just choose their profile and what medicine will suit them. So we'll just give the medicine according to their all those needs what they require in this process. So, ma'am, another question we have got is that Shavlina has asked that my sister is diagnosed with endometriosis. What I can do to prevent or avoid this disease, or is there any familial, inheritance of passing this disease to the kids or to the siblings?
So certainly endometriosis runs in the family, and you can see that there are first degree family members which are affected, but there is no method by which you can actually prevent the inheritance. The best advice would be to diagnose it on time and control the symptoms so that you don't suffer much. So ideally, you must try to control the disease as much as possible. And once again, coming back to same medical treatment till the time you're desirous of a baby, and then complete your family faster so that the larger lesions or the disease doesn't impact your fertility, and thereby you probably otherwise a lot of women with endometriosis would need assisted reproductive techniques to have children. So the best advice is to see a gynecologist, identify your risk, figure out if you are sexually active, then a PV examination, an internal examination through the front passage can be done. If not, then through the back passage or a double examination if you're sexually active. And we as doctors with experience can actually figure out if you have such symptoms.
Okay, so the thing is that you have to actually, this is yes, family inheritance of disease is there. So once any of your family member is diagnosed with endometriosis, or first take relative, you should be cautious about the symptoms. You should get yourself screened for the disease because at times there are no finding, just only the symptoms we used to have with this type of patients. So once you have family history of endometriosis, definitely you should go ahead for a self checkup. So another query we have got is what precautions one should take while she was being diagnosed with endometriosis. That means she was asking about any lifestyle changes that helps us in preventing endometriosis and to correct that or to help those women in spite of medicines.
Well, there are some alternate methods which are expected to improve. Though as clinicians, we hardly believe in them. Acupuncture is one of the methods. So if some of you believe and you would like to try it, go ahead and try it. But certainly there are no dietary modifications which could be recommended. Yes, excessive weight gain can actually aggravate the disease. So ensure that eating healthy, sleeping on time is always the right thing to do. But finally, you must decide on when you want to reproduce because eventually disease will take its own toll and is going to be a complex situation as the number of years pass. So you must identify and take precautions and probably the medical treatment to arrest this or rather reduce the speed of the progress of the disease. So this is what you can do.
Okay, so that is how we have the options that what ma'am has told that these are the lifestyle changes. Again, we have a few add-ons like first is obviously the diet plays a major role in any of the disease prevention part. What you can you cannot stop the medical things, but you can improve the your body immunity against that disease. So avoid all those trans fats, all those junk foods, and all those refined sugars. It has been said that omega-3 fatty acids containing foods are a bit helpful in in fighting this disease up. And also there are certain diet modifications. You have to avoid alcohol, caffeinated, more of caffeinated drinks. So these all make your body a bit immunity a bit less in fighting this disease. And on the fresh fruits, vegetables, and all those antioxidant containing fruits to your diet. Another lifestyle changes, yes, exercises and acupuncture, as ma'am has told. This is really add on, you can say as additional treatment along with the medical treatment also. And what about is that, yes, you have to bear that disease burden because one thing is very sure that this disease is something which will stay you lifelong. So you cannot do it at once that it got treated and you are all okay with it. So you have to keep your body up, immune to that all those recurrent flares or recurrences of these diseases. So just one thing is that because this is a progressive disease and this is one thing is that this is cannot be cured at completely and at one go. It can keep on occurring recurrences and relapses. So that you should keep in mind while you are dealing with your lifestyle changes. So, ma'am, we have got one question is Shalini has asked, hi doctor, I had severe pain during cramps since 2 years. I visited so many doctors, but it was never diagnosed. In December, it was diagnosed with endometrial cyst and it was increasing with severe pain. I got my laparoscopic done and doctor said it was grade 4 endometriosis. I still have continuous pain in right side where I had the cyst, not very severe, but not acute. I'm worried about this pain. My right fallopian tube is damaged. My age is 33 years. Please suggest, also suggest lifestyle and diet to be taken. to take care of endometriosis in future?
Yes. So, this is a very typical story of endometriosis advanced stage, wherein early disease remains undiagnosed because the symptoms are non-specific and it is extremely difficult. The ultrasound findings are not clear. The MRI never shows up any endometriosis unless it is stage 4, that is endometrioma, that is endometriosis in the ovarian cyst. And then it is already too late because it is stage 4. It becomes very painful, situation becomes difficult. Now, here the first advice is we do not know the status whether she's completed her family or not. If she's completed her family, then Mirena insertion would be the best option, first trial I would suggest, or else you can try combined oral contraceptive pills, try cycling for next 2 years. But once she turns 35, then probably she will have to let go of these pills in view of increasing chances of lipid alteration and chances of cancer breast, and then moving on to the Mirena. But if she's completed her family, then that is the right thing to do. So first thing first, complete your family. Ensure that you complete it as soon as possible. You probably here do not have liberty like other women, career-oriented women, wherein they can defer their pregnancies in late 40s or probably early 50s, and they still do good. Certainly here, this is a setback, but you must take it, and there is no other choice here. So please, you try and figure out. So I've given you both the options. In case you're not planning a baby, then you insert Mirena. If you're planning a baby, please take the advice of a fertility specialist. Go ahead, move on, quickly finish your family, and then we can have a better option. And during that interval between two big kids, if you want to have two, again, a use of Mirena or combined oral contraceptive pills is a good idea.
So, Shalini, that ma'am has rightly said about all the things out about endometriosis. Yes, it's very common that it at times does not have any signs, that it is not visible on scan, it is not visible on any any investigations. There is no blood test to diagnose endometriosis, just the symptoms to point us about the endometriosis diagnosis, because the diagnosis of endometriosis is only made by laparoscopy until and unless we have some endometriotic cyst on the ultrasound or MRI. So initial, when it is in the initial first stage, one or grade 1 and grade 2 might not be evident on any of your ultrasound findings or any of the investigations. But yes, it at times it is a cause of unexplained infertility also. At times that women try to conceive and it is not they are not it is not happening, then at times we do a laparoscopy to diagnose the problems, and we do find them they have endometriotic spots or endometriotic lesions, and when we clear them off they do conceive naturally also. So yes, this is very enigmatic disease, very unexplained disease. Still we have options for that. So one thing is that it might be there again. If you have again that pain after laparoscopy, we have many options. We can try you for the non-medical non-contraceptive pills also, but the first thing is that you have to first clear your fertility issues early, because whatever medicines we are giving you to suppress the endometriosis, that to suppress the ovulation also, and that hampers the fertility. So hence thereby we do give first ask the patients to complete the fertility by any of the assisted reproductive technology. Again, if your one tube is blocked, definitely the another tube option we have to look out. And then again we try to complete your family as early as possible. Once it is completed, then we can give you some permanent cure for the pain relief. But still, if it is not relief, then you can take some analgesics or maybe a non hormonal treatment for that endometriosis pain control. So, what again? Another question Angelina has asked: what treatment options are there to treat this disease? What other treatment options for per se endometriosis? What all we have in the things?
I think it's a
It's a
good question.
question. We have
Yes.
covered it.
So
This is
let's talk in short again that you can take pills, you can take just pain relief, you can take GnRH injections, you can have Mirena insertion, you can also use plain progesterone, or you can have a laparoscopic clearance of the lesions if you're planning a baby soon. So these are the various options.
another question we have related to this also. We have that I've been advised contraceptive pills by my doctor for control of endometriosis. Will they have any prolonged side effects using contraceptive pills?
So that's the biggest myth I would like to bust here. That majority of the women with endometriosis believe that, or with those who take combined contraceptive pills, They believe that once they start taking the pills, their fertility will be reduced. It's the other way around. See, God has given you X number of eggs in the ovary. They're not going to increase. They will just deteriorate. They get less over time. Now, what happens with oral contraceptive pills? They prevent the release of eggs from the ovary every month. So, if at best they will do something is rather than decrease the number of loss of eggs from the ovary rather than increase. So this is one. Secondly, there is no long-term decrease in fertility. There's a short-term rise of very small, marginally, very, very minimally increased risk of cancer breast and some alteration in the lipid profile. But typically, this is very safe, and the benefits are so much more than the risk that certainly it can be bartered. Yes, there would be some women who have migraine or liver disease or personal history of cancer or a family history of breast cancer in a first degree relatives. So probably, or those who have clots in the legs or the brain or the body somewhere. So probably these are the women who are unfit to take combined contraceptive pills. The rest, I don't see any issue. And please, it will never ever impact the long-term fertility. It will rather, if at best, it will improve it marginally rather.
So these are the ma'am has rightly told about all those long-term effect of contraceptive pills that we used to give to suppress endometriosis. At times, patient got scared that these are the contraceptive pills we are planning for fertility. Why we have been advised these contraceptive pills? But just to inform that contraceptive pills are not only for contraception; they do have another benefits on the body. They do control lot many hormonal systems in the body, so these can be advised except for the contraceptive purpose. And the long-term effects, as ma'am has rightly told, that these are the ones which we should follow them up or we should monitor, else they don't have any prolonged side effect. That's like that. We don't have any much of side effect. Nowadays, we have newer pills with less of estrogen, more of progesterone, and that helps in controlling the endometriosis symptoms. Again, ma'am, the next question is this: can endometriosis be cured without any surgery? Is the surgery only option for the
Well,
endometriosis?
if it is stage 4 or very advanced endometriosis, especially if it is sitting in the ovaries, you can't do anything about other than surgery. But if the disease is mild or moderate, you can just have pain control, symptoms control, take the pills, or try to complete the family use of Mirena. So all this can be tried, and you use it appropriately, tailored to your needs, and figure out what is best. So this can be done. You go with your partner, your husband, to the gynecologist, and she can take a complete history, do examination, figure out what all problems you have, what is the quality of life you're leading, and then give you a very tailored, or very, very specific treatment.
So yes, there are other options, but surgery is mainly for those who are having constant pain, not relieved by medicines. Their large endometriomas, difficult and trying for to conceive, which is hindering their fertility. So these are the various indications where we require surgery. But yes, we do cater, actually we do topple between the medicines and surgery, when to need surgery, when to need medicines. That has been decided by a doctor once a patient approaches, because we cannot put a simple protocol for all patients. That is, we used to tailor the protocol for the patient, which one to require surgery and which one to require medicines. Another Sakshi has asked that I have been operated for endometriosis. Can I get it again? My doctor has told me that it can come again. So what to do?
So the best way to prevent recurrence is start using contraceptive pills till the time you decide to have a baby. If you want to have a baby, pregnancy itself will heal endometriosis to a great extent, because the amount of progesterone which is delivered to these lesions, which are the healer hormones of the body, is unprecedented. This cannot be given from outside exogenous source in any way. So the right advice would be to probably try and complete your family as soon as possible, and if not, then use contraceptive pills along with Mirena to reduce the number of flow, to reduce the pain, to control the pain, and to control the disease per se, so that as and when you intend to have babies, it would not take long, and it will not be difficult, and it will be probably with least or minimal help from a fertility specialist.
So these are the few things
So,
that
yeah.
has been told about the operation and recurrence and all those about surgery, the one who decided for the surgery. See, there are various options nowadays. Laparoscopy is a boon and actually advanced to these type of endometriotic surgeries. We can go for a keyhole surgery without any problem. They are have a they are good recovery rates. No prolonged immobilization is needed. Just 1 day stay and then you're back to normal if you were incapacitated for the severe pain before that. So just advices, if you are ignoring it and you are decreasing your lifestyle performances, you are not putting due to the pain, you are not able to do your daily lifestyle course. It's better than to treat the things out and just nip the disease and just get rid of it till the time being you are being put on the hormonal medicine. So again, another question is being asked is that I've been a patient of endometriosis since 2 or 3 years, and I want to delay my child bearing as we are got recently married. So can we do that? It do have any impacts in conceiving if I have endometriosis?
So endometriosis is toxic to the body, certainly to the eggs. And whenever you have endometriosis, Dr. Priya will agree because she's an IVF specialist that the kind of eggs you retrieve and when you fertilize them, the quality of the embryo formed is slightly poor compared to when you do not have. So what you can do is if you can have a check with a fertility specialist. If you have good time and a good pelvis, then probably you can move on with contraceptive pills for a couple of weeks or months, say 6 months to 1 year, and keep an eye on your fertility meanwhile. Or the other method is if you are on the brink of the fertility edge, then probably take out your eggs, fertilize them with husband sperms, make some good embryos, freeze them for future use, insert Mirena, take pills, give yourself little time till the time you adjust. And then, if you're not certain about your partner and suppose you're still single, in that scenario, you can actually freeze your eggs and wait and see what next.
So yes, definitely endometriosis do impact on fertility. So if you are a diagnosed patient of endometriosis, then you should first consult a fertility specialist before delaying your childbearing, because what happens that endometriosis has impact on eggs also, and endometriosis has impact on the pelvis also. So what we do normally in these type of patients, we just do a assessment, pre-conceptional assessment. We check their egg reserve, how is it. If the egg reserve is fine, then definitely we can give them some pills so that the endometriosis does not progress and remains stable till the time they are planning to conceive. If the egg reserve is poor, yes, definitely we advise them for the egg freezing or embryo freezing till the time they are planning to conceive. And in between time we just give them pills to suppress those endometriosis or endometriotic spots, and then we push the embryos whenever they plan to conceive. So in that way we can halt the disease and we can just halt the egg aging also, and in that way we can freeze those embryos and eggs at the right time so that later on they don't face the problem of poor egg reserve or a difficulty in conception. So another question has been asked is, I have undergone 2 cycles of IUI for fertility treatment. I am having endometriotic cyst on my ultrasound scans. What are my chances of success with IUI treatment, and will be requiring IVF later on?
So, dear, you did not mention how good are the tubes and what is the relation of the ovaries to the uterus and the fallopian tubes. See what happens in endometriosis, especially the kind of endometriosis you are describing, which is stage 4. The anatomy of the pelvis is completely altered. The tubes in the ovaries, they get clumped in a mass, and which is adherent either to the lateral pelvic wall high up or onto the back of the uterus, which is more commonly so. And in this, because of the altered relationship, the tubal mobility is affected, the release of the eggs from the ovaries is affected, and that it is very difficult for the tubes to go and pick up these eggs and probably help in conception. So certainly there is a possibility that you would need an assisted reproductive technique. Now IUI, yes, it can work provided your tubes are good and the anatomy is still maintained, or if you've undergone a surgery for the clearance thing, or probably you need one to make the anatomy a little better and give a couple of weeks of trial of IUI, provided you have good ovarian reserve and that you documented ovulating on the scans. But if not so, and you're just dependent on those strip tests with LH search, which hardly gives any information, and most of you have been wasting your time at home doing that. So my recommendation would be you try and figure out if you're ovulating well and what's the anatomy. A lot of experienced ultrasonologists can actually figure out if your ovaries are adherent or not. If not, MRI can also identify whether there's a good plane between the uterus tubes and ovaries, or the plane is completely distorted and is all amalgamated mass, and this is very unlikely. So we can't really say that it is 100% yes or no. It is only the probability, and the more severe the disease, the more is the likelihood of the trouble coming in. And in case of such severe endometriosis like stage 4, probably 90% of women would need at some point some kind of assistance to conceive.
So definitely the success of IUI depends, as ma'am has told, what are the status of your tubes and what is your ovarian reserve. And the third is not also not to be ignored is the semen parameters also, because at times we do have two or three factors coincidentally along with the endometriosis. Also we do have another factors also. So the thorough assessment will be telling you about that what will be your success rates in IUI treatment. Yes, definitely in these type of cases, at times IUI has a less success rate because the pelvis anatomy has just this normally get distorted. So the tubes and ovaries relations get distorted. So once the egg release from the ovary, it gets stuck there and it is not being captured by the tube, and hence whatever either we are using a timed intercourse or IUI, they are not giving us good results. So in these type of patients, what we do is that we just take them time for 3 or 4 cycles maximum, not beyond that. And again, if they really don't work upon, then we definitely take these patients for IVF, because if the cause is due to the pelvis distortion anatomy, then definitely they do get success in IVF treatments also. So these are about the fertility and the endometriosis things out. So again, ma'am, there's a question: Will removing my uterus will cure endometriosis?
Removing
Removing the
uterus
uterus will
filter.
cure
Okay,
my
okay. So
endometriosis.
that's a very drastic step, and probably the towards the end. See, what happens is ultimately the most important thing is quality of life. So if you rate yourself well on quality of life questionnaire, then there's no reason to remove the uterus. But if you've delivered the babies and completed your family, and you have completed you further need uterus only for the menstruation or otherwise, so then it's a very good idea to remove the uterus. But mind it, if your age is below 40 and the disease is very, very severe, then only you should be doing it. Over 40, if, even with moderate disease, you can consider, because in endometriosis, whenever you remove the uterus along with cervix, it is absolutely essential to remove both the ovaries, because the culprit are the ovaries, because they are the ones which are producing hormones and spreading the disease. So doing a complete surgery, that is removal of the uterus, cervix, tubes, and both ovaries, will not eliminate all the endometriosis from your body, because it is something like if you've thrown sand, a lot of sand on a thick carpet, whatever amount of vacuuming or washing you do, some sand will remain inside, and these are the spots from where endometriosis will grow. Because even after removing the ovaries, there is some source of estrogen in the body which is of adrenal origin, and some in the adipose tissue, and this is going to be produced and further aggravate the disease. But certainly there would be 90% of the pain control. So you must figure out and you must try the non surgical treatment first before you decide on to this drastic step. But a lot of women they do so well after. And I give you an example. So there was this lady who would come to the hospital on wheelchair every periods, and the kind of expression was completely frowning and a lot of sad lines on her face. And even after the periods will go away, the pain will stay and the expression would never change. And she was just 37 and she used to look like something like 50 plus. So eventually finally she completed her family and decided to get rid of this. And a post operative, she returned on the first visit, which was hardly 5 days. So there was no major difference. But I failed to recognize her completely. After 1 month, all those sad lines were gone, and she was looking so youthful that I failed to believe that this is the same woman with no ovaries now, no uterus now. But since the pain has completely gone, the facial expression is so beautiful, and those sad lines are completely gone. So if you are the case like this, yes, removal of the uterus is highly recommended.
So yes, definitely it is like some the disease is something like that, that A woman has to live with that chronic agonizing pain every month, and we have met so many women like that, that every periods there has to be on injections continuously, because without that the pain is not getting relieved. And with this they struggle with so much of this, and this is actually the lifetime they do struggle with these things out. So what happens, that ma'am has rightly told, it is just like a sand drops which is spread on the carpet. No matter how much you remove them, there are still some spots also which can cause these type of pain. And yes, definitely most of the patients come to us that just remove everything, we don't want anything, we just want to get rid of this pain. But definitely we try to preserve their fertility as much as then. And yes, definitely we try that they should complete the childbearing soon, so that we can give them a permanent cure, or maybe a treatment which can relieve their excruciating menstrual pain also. So that is how we have to deal, and we have to fight with this disease on and off. And we have to, you that's why the here comes the role of awareness. Until and unless you don't know about the treatment options, you don't know about the disease per se, you will keep on fighting, taking it to be a normal menstrual pain that you are fighting with this disease like that. So that is how we do these type of things. Yes, definitely if it requires removal, it requires removal of whole uterus, ovaries, tubes, and hence we ask them to do the to complete the childbearing soon. Yes, definitely during pregnancy, if you get pregnant, the disease gets suppressed, because the hormones and the endometrial thickness normally used to get shrink, and hence there is a relief of pain during pregnancy, and yes, definitely after menopause also. But if you are in the reproductive age group, until the time you keep on bleeding the menstrual bleed, because what happens, it is the accumulation of menstrual blood which goes inside the pelvis and leads to these endometriotic spots. Exact theory at least not known, but this is the most common theory which we consider for this theoretically, etiology of endometriosis. So if you keep on bleeding, if you have menstruation every month, you will definitely have pain every month if you are a patient of endometriosis. So that's why we wanted to cure it. The permanent cure is ours. It is just removal of all the endometriotic spots along with your ovaries, tubes, and uterus, everything. So that's why we ask them to complete the family first and then go for a permanent cure about that. So the next is, ma'am, we have another question is that how will we assess our risk? Like, who are the women who are at higher risk of endometriosis? What are the women risk factor which women should consider for endometriosis?
So if you started menstruating early, like 9 years, or if you are still not achieved menopause beyond 50, if you have very prolonged cycles, if you have heavy periods, if you have family history of endometriosis, or if you have severe pain which is identified and diagnosed by the other expert that you have endometriosis. So these are the factors probably which can determine if so. Certainly, first degree family history is a big plus. It is a big concern. It can decide on whether you are at risk of endometriosis.
Yes, if you have a prolonged reproductive age group like early menarche, late menopause, and you have no not bear any children, any all those infertility issues, also nulliparous, these women and family history definitely. So these women are a bit higher risk for developing the disease. And so these women should screen themselves for early symptoms of endometriosis. At times, I have seen recently the patients who come to us that I do have endo. So like I do have symptoms of endo, so just please screen myself for endometriosis. But again, in early stage, stage 1 and stage 2, we cannot diagnose endometriosis mainly by any of the tests except laparoscopy. So until unless we see that ovarian cyst, or what we call as endometrioma, then only we'll come to know that this is the endometriotic cyst. So these are the endometriosis symptoms. But before that, these symptoms, as ma'am has told, pain during periods, constant pelvic pain, other discomfort, heavy periods also at times, irregular periods, inability to conceive. So these are the symptoms which point us to the endometriosis, which we discuss it as a most common. If you still have any query, please type in the comment box. So yes, ma'am, another question that Shalini, we were discussing that case is it okay to have damaged tube in body if damaged due to endometriosis? Will it affect the other tube or not? I have discharged this month from day 15 to 22 and burning sensation, and I was on letrozole for 3 to 7. So she was actually planning for the fertility treatment. and what she has told is that her right tube was damaged. So will it affect the other tube, and what are the other options she can have?
So certainly the damaged right tube will not affect the left tube, but the problem is the disease is spread all over the pelvis. So eventually this disease, this tube is, the healthy tube is also going to be impacted. The second thing is urine infection. So urine infection is not connected to endometriosis unless you have the endometriosis invading into the uterine wall, and that will show blood, but certainly not the pus cells. The other thing that she's mentioning is she's got vaginal discharge from day 15 to 22. Now, this vaginal discharge and burning sensation could be the vaginitis, that is the fungal or the bacterial infection. And for this, she would need an examination to what it is. We can diagnose and treat it accordingly. So basically, she's been talking about four problems at the same time, whether the endometriosis is going to impact the other tube, whether she's got the second thing is that probably she's got UTI, third is a vaginal discharge, and lastly, she's described her letrozole, that is the fertility treatment. So my recommendation is, since already one tube is damaged, she should hurry up. Whatever, depending on her age, if she's young, then probably 2-3 cycles of IUI, and then she has to move further for IVF. But if she's not, since she's taking the treatment, certainly it looks that she's very keen. And till the time the other tube is good, you must hasten and complete your fertility management. And meanwhile, pay an attention or eye to what your ovarian reserve is. Never, never, ever miss believing that endometriosis and the damaged tubes and spending all the time and energy there and forgetting about your ovarian reserve. So please identify what is your ovarian reserve and how much time you have in hand to take this kind of treatment.
So definitely, yes, endometriosis affect egg count also. That's the another question is about is, do endometriosis affect my egg count also? I have been diagnosed with endometriosis and I do have poor AMH value. So my AMH is zero point 0.5 and I have been struggling for fertility. So ma'am, what is your opinion
I
about
think, Dr. Priya, you are an IVF specialist and you should be taking this question.
So yes, definitely. At times we see patients with endometriosis coming to us at early age, still just for preconceptional advice that we are planning for the pregnancy, no symptoms, nothing. And when we see the ovaries, we see no eggs, and we just see endometrioma handing over the ovary, and there is no symptoms as such except for the mild pain during periods. So definitely it is, I told you, it's a silent disease, and at times it can hamper the fertility. And yes, if the eggs, if endometrioma is present in the ovary, it affects the other eggs in the ovary. So hence it decreases the ovarian reserve and egg count. That is one thing. And the number two also, we have already discussed that it distort the pelvic anatomy, and hence it hampers the natural fertilization of the eggs and sperms. Also, that's why it decreases the fertility also. Then definitely, if the egg reserve count is low as evident by the poor image, then yes, you should not wait for it. You should definitely go ahead for the with the IVF. Let us see how much eggs we can retrieve with the IVF. Also, during IVF, what we do is that we take out eggs in one cycle. We give suppress your endometriosis. We make your uterus, favorable for the implantation, and then we transfer in your next cycle.
I think my advice to this patient is, you come here, we do your AFC count, that is antral follicular count, we reevaluate your AMH levels, and if they appear to be the same, we induce you for egg formation as soon as possible, because that is the first thing first. Till the time we have a couple of eggs in hand, we can still work on them, because any further delay would significantly drop your AMH, likely to, nobody can say certainly, but this is very highly likely to drop further. And if so, then probably your own eggs will never be available for fertility things. So please, please try and conserve whatever you're left with. Certainly it is very less, but never too late. So please, please do your best and try to retrieve eggs and freeze them before you decide to treat your endometriosis and control the symptoms.
Hope it works for you, and hope you
Yes.
will be benefited by the answer. And just you have to all the best for your next venture in your fertility. So next question, ma'am, have come up is that, do endometriosis affect any my sex life also? Is there any problem
Yeah,
during sex or sex
that
out?
is a big challenge. A lot of women with endometriosis have a lot of disease behind the uterus, into the pelvic tissue between the rectum and the uterus, between the rectum and the vagina. And these women will suffer significant pain during the intercourse. The pain is not at the entry point. The pain is at the deepest point, and it's typically felt in lower abdomen, either in front or in the back. And sometimes it is that bad that it stays for very, very long. For such women, it is recommended that they have relatively shallow intercourse, or they tried various positions and figure out what is best for them and what is the least painful. So by that, they can probably manage the symptoms, and taking a painkiller before intercourse will also reduce the pain. So all those symptoms. But again, coming back to fertility, so symptoms control, quality of life can be improved by removing uterus. So if you've completed your family, you can get rid of the uterus, and that will certainly improve your sexual life. But if not so, please complete your family, because the situation looks dreadful.
Yes, at times endometriosis do manifest only with dyspareunia, what we call as pain during intercourse, and these women are really very scared of intercourse because they do have severe pain. So if you have this type of symptoms, then you should definitely consult the doctor for further evaluation of your case. So next we have another question is that how difficult is the laparoscopic treatment of endometriosis? What all we can have during laparoscopy? What are any side effects for the laparoscopic treatment?
So laparoscopy is best done for two reasons. One is if you have a large endometrioma, as Dr. Priya rightly said, that it will be compressing the surrounding tissue. It in itself toxic, and also it is causing a lot of inflammatory reaction, thereby causing further deviations between the uterus tube and ovaries and the surrounding pelvic tissue. So it is very important to remove this endometrioma, more so if the size is more than 2.5 centimeters, the largest diameter. Then the other thing is there could be endometriotic deposits which could be all over the pelvis. On laparoscope, they can be seen as white lesions or the powder burnt lesions, that is the burnt matchstick kind of thing. And they can be identified or either excised or burnt there, so that the disease control is quite possible. And soon after, depending on the fertility desires and the needs on the pain symptoms, we can put the woman either on contraceptive pills or Mirena, or take her further immediately for the fertility management, because pregnancy itself will heal endometriosis to a great extent.
So that is how is we are the options for the laparoscopy today. Nowadays, it is becoming very less painful. Less we have to advance things out. We just remove the endometriotic cyst only. Don't have to need no don't need to remove the whole ovary. Just fulgurate and cauterize the spots, whatever the endometriotic spots we have. Don't require much of ambulation. You just we are active by next day or maybe by a second or third days you can do your work. Initially it was known to be a carrier woman disease, and you must have seen that a lot of women who are aggressive in their professional fields, they do have endometriosis in one or other form. So they keep on juggling between work and endometriotic symptoms. But yes, we do get lot many patients just for laparoscopy, and madam is expert in laparoscopy, so she has done numerous cases for the laparoscopic treatment where we can now just remove only the cyst part. We just burn the spots, we just burn the cautery, and yes, definitely it don't affect the tube as such, as
Yeah.
Shalini has
And in
also
fact, yeah,
mentioned.
if it is
Yes,
damaged, we can restore the pelvic
yes.
anatomy, so that women can get benefit, and probably they can conceive naturally or with IUI. So certainly, whenever we do laparoscopic treatment, we try and improve. And as you said rightly, the pain is minimal, the hospital stay is minimal, the blood loss is minimal, the recovery rate is faster, and the quality of life certainly improves, and the fertility rates are remarkably better after the surgery.
Anytime, many times we take up patients for laparoscopy just for diagnosing what is the cause of infertility, why the everything is going on well, why the patient is not conceiving. And when we do for the laparoscopic assessment, laparoscopy is just when we put the camera and we check the uterus, tubes, ovaries, we check the uterus inside by a hysteroscopy, and then we come to know yes, there might be some endometriotic spots. They were like mild pelvic adhesions, what we called as a jale in the pelvis, what we in the we call as a common vein. So we correct those anatomy, we fulgurate those spots, we just push the dye up, the tubes have become clean, and then maybe the next cycle or within 2 or 3 months the patient do conceive naturally also. So this is the only indication where we are doing laparoscopy in cases of maybe unexplained infertility, where we has to find out the cause for the infertility. So, ma'am, next something to some light to throw about on adenomyosis. What is it? Which is endometriosis affects the uterus also? What is it is in the severe form?
So endometriosis, to put it simply, endometriosis can be internal or external. External means when it is affecting the tubes and the ovaries and the surrounding pelvis tissue or the bowel or the urinary bladder. Now, when it is internal, so what happens? The lining of the uterus, which is meant to go out vaginally into the outside area every month, sometimes it tends to seep into the uterine wall, making the walls thicker, has a lot of blood collection, and there are various changes which makes the uterus very hard compared to the soft. It becomes very thick and very hard. So this is known as adenomyosis or the adenomyotic uterus. And once the uterus becomes adenomyotic, Dr. Priya would agree that implantation rates in IVF becomes less. So please, this is another reason that you should be planning a baby, and if not, at least insert Mirena to preserve your uterus and to prevent adenomyosis, so that whenever at a later age you intend to have your fertility management, the uterus will behave much better, and the bed which will be formed for the baby to be holding onto the uterine cavity or the wall will be much, much superior.
So, hence the when endometriosis affect the ovary, it is called as endometrioma, and when the endometriosis affect the uterus, it is called as adenomyoma. And yes, many a time it is confused with uterine fibroid also. Recently, only just today only, we have seen the patient just 5 years struggling for fertility, diagnosed as being fibroid itself. And just when we are assessing her for the fertility, she has a huge uterus with the adenomyoma. And all the endometriosis in the ovary, no eggs in the ovary. So that is how we at times feel picture. We see these type of pictures when we have seen patients with a long infertility also. These adenomyosis at times do manifest as irregular periods, heavy periods, painful periods. In between periods, patients have spotting and bleeding. So these type of problems at times do manifest in during perimenopause also, and in reproductive age group also. Once they completed their fertility, they do have these type of complaints. And then we come to know that it is adenomyosis. So it's a very simple treatment that ma'am has already told that just has to insert one either Mirena or IUCDs, what we call as progesterone IUCDs, or just put you on some pills for progesterone so that the pain and the periods irregularities get improved by these drugs, because you cannot remove the uterus just for this reason. Have to give some conservative, can give some conservative treatment for these things till the time you are attaining your menopause. The things get improved by itself also. So this is also one important thing which we wanted to highlight here. So any other thing, ma'am, you want to discuss? Because I think we have finished with the questions and we just have 5 minutes to go. So anything you want to give message about endometriosis to all women or hair who are suffering from
So,
this?
first of all, be aware if you have symptoms of pain or prolonged bleeding, or you have a family history of endometriosis, or if you think that your symptoms are matching with whatever we have said, or you have unexplained infertility, you get in touch with a doctor depending on your symptoms. If you have infertility, then probably infertility doctor is a better idea. Otherwise, a general gynecologist. They will evaluate, examine. As I told you, once again, in short, we can have an ultrasound to see that there is no endometrioma, that is the ovarian cyst of the endometriosis. Then we can see if there are any other major lesions or some adhesions which can be figured out. As Dr. Priya rightly said, that there's no way to identify stage 1 and 2 endometriosis by any of the imaging techniques till date. We are hoping for better techniques to come in future, and we will be benefited along with the people who are suffering. But till then, the clinical examination and the history remains the gold standard in diagnosis of the early stage endometriosis. So if you think you have that, please put yourself in consultation with the doctor on contraceptive pills to control the disease till the time you marry, till the time you intend to have children. And meanwhile, keep an eye on your fertility, your ovarian preservation, conservation. Do not shy away from the disease, handle it, and believe me, in the modern times, the results are excellent. Quality of pain control, quality of disease control, and quality of the fertility treatment has improved the quality of life significantly for women who have been suffering or very silently, probably silently in terms of because women do not tend to complain much, and whenever they have pain, their mothers would say सबको होता है रहने दो परेशान होने की बात नहीं है apply some hot water bag, don't take medications, don't see a doctor, doctors will unnecessarily put you on medications, any pill intake will affect your future fertility in terms of reduction in the fertility and so on. Lots of myths. Please bust your myths. Listen to this video again and again. You have further questions, you can write to us directly or come down, and we are more than happy to bust your myths and take up any questions. And if you need to know more, please get in touch, but never ever ignore your symptoms because it can cost you dearly in long term, in terms of health, in terms of pain, in terms of sexual life, and finally when it comes to the fertility issues.
Thank you, ma'am, for such a broad description of the disease, and hope this session was informative to all of you. Thank you for joining us today. Yes, Tam, it's an extremely helpful, knowledgeable session. Thank you that you like the session. And if you still have any doubts or any queries, you can connect to us. We have a Cloud9 app. It's a baby app. We are available at Sector 14 Cloud9. So you can connect to us on over the video consult also. You can write to us over your queries. We'll try to solve it out as much as we can. And yes, spread the awareness. If you have listened to the videos, if you have listened to the queries and questions, if your myths are busted, then please spread it to our amongst your family and friends so that they can also be benefited. So yes, just that period pain is really not normal if it you have to pop up the painkillers every month. So that is something you have to understand, and you have to make your colleagues also understand that it is not a normal thing that to pop up the painkillers or taking injections on every period. This is might be early symptoms from for endometriosis. Many a women don't come up with this queries. They think so it's normal. This is my normal symptoms. I am having sex during pain during sex is a normal symptom. I'm having pain during periods. It is a normal symptom. This is what a womanhood is. Yes, this is, but this is not something normal. Also, if you are having a killer cramps, then that definitely it is a symptom of early stages of endometriosis, which can be control over the hormonal pills that they don't affect your fertility potential. And yes, we do get lot many patients of endometriosis with fertility problems. We do follow a step-wise protocol in them. As ma'am, we have already discussed, we see the egg reserve, we see the tubal status, we see the age, we see the semen analysis, and according to them, we curate a treatment for them. We try with first ovulation induction drugs, what we have for ovulation. We try with the timed intercourse. Again, if not, then IUIs. If not, then laparoscopy, and if not, then with IVF. But yes, timely diagnosis and timely management is the key to success for any fertility treatment, whatever it be, either it is the time intercourse or it IVF, because we cannot per se change the disease or we cannot just eliminate the disease. We can just make it in a controlled way or we can just make it in a remission stage. So that is how it is, and we have to fight along with it. This is really a resilient disease and it continues to grow. But women with endometriosis are also resilient, and we will definitely continue to fight it. Thank you all for being a part of the show, and thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot for your expert advices and expert being here for the show. And still, we'll keep on rocking with the next series of Ask the Experts. Stay tuned for the next series and next topic for that. Till then, goodbye. Thank you.